You are listening to the Lanterns Radio Network, where Americans come together to illuminate the truth. Turn it up loud and proud until the knob breaks off. Lanterns, illuminating the truth.
You have arrived at the intersection, the place where faith, current events, and politics all come together. Sit back as Andrew Chavarria and leading conservatives take you on a journey that will educate, challenge, and inspire. The intersection starts now.
What is up, America? Welcome to it. This is The Intersection, the place where faith, current events, and politics, it all comes together right here. Blake Reynolds is just getting in studio, so he'll be joining us here pretty quick. He's got to get behind the mic and get his headphones on, and he'll be on the show. And then we're going to be joined potentially by Sierra Marley. I know we advertised for Sierra Marley to be on the show, but we're having some communicating difficulties, I guess you could say. But we will be joined later on in this broadcast by my good friend, Jeff Dunitz. Jeff is the writer and columnist for his blog called lidblog.com, and I'm looking forward to having him on the show to talk about about the Clinton email scandal from the 90's. The 90's, okay? It's crazy. So that he has put all this stuff together, and it's going to be an amazing show. You're not going to want to miss it. But as soon as Blake gets on, we're going to talk more about Harambe, the gorilla that got past the gorilla that was shot when a kid got past the barricades, because some say that this is an isolated incident and that Harambe should have never died. There are people calling for the criminalization of the parents. Is this an isolated incident? Is this something worthy of note? Should we really be paying attention to Harambe, or is there something else? I want you to be the deciding factor when it comes to those things. So as we look to those, as we look to some of the details with Harambe, we're going to talk about that. We're going to, like I said, I mean, it's going to be a jam-packed show. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting, and it'll be entertaining. So don't go anywhere. Let me get Blake Reynolds, our co-host, situated here on the line, and we'll be back with more after this quick song. It's one that you've heard before from my friend Abby Anderson, Let Freedom Ring. We'll be right back with our co-host Blake Reynolds. Don't go anywhere. It's just going to be a couple of minutes.
Freedom ring. Let freedom ring. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. My native country, thee, land to shining sea. Let freedom ring. So let music swell the breeze and ring from all the trees. Sweet freedom song. Let mortal tongues awake. Let all that breath partake. Let rocks their silence break. The sound prolong. Let freedom ring. Great God our King. From sea to shining sea. Let freedom ring. Our fathers, God to thee, author of liberty, to thee we sing. Long may our land be bright with freedom's holy light. Protect us by thy night, great God our King. Let freedom ring. Great God our King. From sea to shining sea. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Great God our King. From sea to shining sea. Let freedom ring. Oh, great God our King. Let freedom ring.
Oh, my bad. That would probably help. Hey, everybody, we're back here with Blake Reynolds. Blake, what's up, bro?
What's going on, Bo?
You know, we're here. We're doing our thing. So we're going to be throwing a curveball at you, Blake. We're going to be joined
Figures.
We're going to be joined here pretty early by my buddy Jeff Dunnitz, Gid with a Lid. Yid with a Lid, and he is actually going to be talking about the Clinton email scandal from the 90s. There was a Clinton email scandal in the 90s when Bill Clinton was in the White House, and he's going to break that down, and that could be the reason that Hillary Clinton turned to using a private email server. Pretty interesting.
Okay.
So anyway, but other than that, bro, everything going well in Cadiz, Kentucky?
Dude, we got this gorilla running around town that supposedly there was a 4-year-old kid that fell into the pit in Nashville Zoo.
Yeah.
And the gorilla had supposedly been watching the news. This gorilla tucked tail and got out of that pit so quick. That dude ended up in Katie's. Like, I mean, as soon as that kid hit the ground in his pit, he climbed out and he ran. No, you know what? Just before we get into that call, I guess I don't know if he's on or not, but
no, he's not on yet. He's not on yet.
I was watching a video of a guy yesterday that was just, he was going through tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet, talking about, or basically everybody thought the kid was white. So they were talking about how it was white privilege, like that some white kid fell into a pit, and of course they shot the gorilla. Like it was. Did you see the one by Mark Dice?
No, I did not see that one.
Oh my gosh, dude. He just went. I mean, he just kept going. And you know how he's just like this idiot, this idiot, this idiot. But basically, these people were just saying, you know, the kid's got white privilege and blah 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 blah. And I wonder how those people felt when they found out the kid was black. So this one guy tweeted out. He said, "Black kid falls in pit, uses white privilege to get out," according to social media.
Wow,
dude. I mean, it was so many, and I was just like, this gorilla thing is getting way out of hand. Way out of hand. People were calling for this mother to be shot all day yesterday. Crazy.
It is crazy, you know. And as I think about some of that stuff, you know, calling for the mom to be shot, and okay, look, let's be real here, and. Greg Locke hit the nail on the head the other day when he was on the show, and he said this because it's so true. And in fact, my wife took to social media and wrote some stuff about the same thing, because here's the thing. I pack, Carrie, my Kelsey packs. We all, you know, we pack. You walk around.
You C-pack too, boss.
You walk around with a 45 in your hand. You don't even put it in a holster. That's because the holster won't fit in his jeans, but we're not going to talk about that.
No, you see me coming.
But
yeah, you can't. You see me coming.
Yeah. You know, here's the thing, though. If it's my kid, and Blake, you said if it was anybody's kid, you'd be over the boundaries. You'd be protecting that kid. I'd have dropped the gorilla myself. No joke. That's for real. I would have dropped the gorilla myself. But here's the thing. I almost want to do.
I'm losing you.
I'm here, bro. I'm here. You still got me? I moved further away from your receiver. Sorry. Are you there, Blake?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
I
cool.
just I was on Facebook sharing your post.
Gotcha.
And all of a sudden my signal started getting off, so I just got off the internet.
There you go. So here's the thing. I almost want to do my Obama impersonation right now. Just let me be clear.
Do it.
Let me.
There you go.
Let me be clear. I want to speak to the American people about Harambe. This is just an act of injustice. This just shows that you can be black anywhere, and you can get shot. The gorilla, Harambe, all he was doing, the only thing he was doing, was trying to protect that kid. Now that gorilla died for no apparent reason, and we will seek justice. We're sending Attorney General Lynch and some other individuals from the Justice Department, and they are going to go down to Cincinnati. They're going to investigate, and that's what we're going to do until we find justice for Harambe. That's the speech I'm waiting to hear. I'm waiting to hear Obama send. He's going to send Attorney General. He's going to send the whole Justice Department to Cincinnati to try this woman, because this, guerrilla lives matter. And yeah. I mean, this is getting crazy, bro. Really and truly. And I want to say something, because this is a show where we discuss faith, current events, and politics. I've had a lot of people on my Facebook and on my feed, on my timeline and stuff, talking about how all lives matter and Harambe's life matters just as much as a human life. No, at the end of the day, it doesn't. Nope. Look, let me say something, and I want to get into a little bit of the faith side of this as we continue on down this conversation, because this is important. When God made the earth, when God made creation and all of those things therein, he made man to subdue the earth. He told man that he had the responsibility to keep the earth. That's what he told Adam. Subdue it. Here's the earth, subdue it. Control it. You have dominion over it. There's only one created being, only one created being in the creation account that was made in the likeness and image of God. And yes, I know I'm talking about creation, and some of you critics might be like, oh my goodness, he's talking about creation. Okay, go ahead, send your tweet. I know who you are. Have fun with that. But here's the thing. There's only one part of creation that's made in the likeness and image of God, and that was mankind. That was humans. We are the only we're the only thing that was made in the likeness and image of God. What does that mean? It means that we are the only thing that really and truly has access back unto the Father, because we were made with spirit and soul. I don't know where you stand on this, but I don't believe I don't believe all dogs go to heaven. Okay? I just don't. I believe that God made man with a soul, and he made us in his likeness and image, and creation is just a part of creation. If God made animals with a soul, then I will be a vegan for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I don't think that animals are going to go to heaven, just like I don't think a tree dies and goes to heaven. So if like, it's just that it's because the monkey has human-like characteristics. Dogs, they're man's best friend. Everybody just so sentimental over these, but I tell you what, I bet they're the first one to kill a mouse, the first one to kill a snake, first one to kill a roach. And it's just like, how far is your bleeding heart willing to go? Because mice matter, like goldfish matter. I saw this post yesterday where it says there was a chicken, a cow, a dog, and somebody's hand. It was by PETA, and it said all animal lives matter. And then somebody commented, put a little star and said, while you're holding the goldfish out of water. Like, come on, like, yeah, like, put that dog's head underwater and talk about how it matters. Like, you're holding this fish out of water. Why would you do that? Like, that fish is sitting here like suffocating, without water, or however it does. And you're holding it out of water talking about its life matters. Come on. Why would you do that? You should go to jail. Or hold a fish out of water. No, dude, it's sickening. Watching these people sign this petition, how this mom's home life needs to be checked out. Like, come on. Dude, I was that 4-year-old that would have went nuts. Like, if I wanted to be in that gorilla pit at 4 years old, there's nothing my mom could have done to stop me either. It would have been up to the zoo and their barriers to stop me. At 4 years old, if I got it in my mind something, chances are I was going to do it. Now, if my dad was around, different story. Dad could tell me to jump. I would have asked him how high.
Right.
But if I wanted to get in that zoo thing, I mean, if you're talking about a 4-year-old man. Now, I heard all these people say yesterday, if it was my 4-year-old, it wouldn't have been in the zoo pit. And I could probably say that too. Mine are terrified of flies. They probably wouldn't have wanted to get in a zoo in the pit with the gorilla. They probably wouldn't have wanted to go swimming in their clothes. They probably wouldn't have wanted to do all that. But I'm telling you what, if they would have, it could have happened. It's just like, I don't know. It drove me crazy to see this. I think the reason why it's kind of settled down today, it's almost like when everybody found out the kid was black, they're like, oh, let's quit talking about it.
Yep.
He's not white. We thought he was white. If he would have been white, this would have been perfect story.
You think about that, and we're actually going to have next week on Monday morning, we're going to have Niger Ennis on the show. And Niger Ennis is an African-American spokesman for Congress on race relations. And he's been on MSNBC, on NBC, on Fox, on all of the major networks. We're lucky enough to have him on the show. But he is BLM's worst enemy. He is racist culture's worst enemy. And we do live in a culture that looks at things like white privilege and stupid stuff like that. Like, I mean, my wife forfeited all of her white privilege when she married me because I'm Hispanic. So no more white privilege for her. No, I'm just kidding. Kelsey, you still have white privilege, okay? You know what?
Yeah, you can't get away from white privilege. Yeah. It's just when she's in the grocery store, people automatically fear her and they let her in the front of every line.
Yeah, no, that never happens.
No,
I wish that happened.
It don't ever happen.
I wish that happened, man. I hate going to the grocery store.
Yeah, it's because I can't say it. Look, I do get certain privileges. I get pastor privileges.
You do?
Like that's not. Yeah, man, that's nice because like people honor you and respect you in that manner, and if you walk in the room and there's no seat around, somebody might look at you and say, hey, you can sit here. That's not white privilege. That's pastor privilege. Every church is white. So that's pastor privilege. Like pregnant white girls get privileges. I've seen people go out of their way and kind of like help them out. But it's because they're pregnant, not because they're white.
Man,
I've seen mothers with children have privileges. That's just because they feel sorry for the mom and they're like, hey, girl, just sit down, take a break. Here, I'll watch your kids for a second. That's not white people privilege. Maybe I'm just talking about maybe that's just church folk.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think what you're saying, maybe. Are you saying, I think, let me make sure I have this right, Blake. Are you saying that the gorilla died because he was dragging this 4-year-old around his habitat and not because of white privilege?
No, I think that gorilla died for white privilege.
Oh, okay. Well, all I know is that gorillas all across the United States have seen the news and your kids are okay to go play past the barriers at the habitat because they ain't touching nobody. They said, I ain't trying to save no kid. I ain't trying to touch no kid. I ain't trying to look at a kid. These kids could just leave my exhibit.
I mean, they said that Hombre or whatever his name is,
Harambe
is 17 years old. He's just at the front of the evolution process. One day he'll be a human. What's sad is like an early human lost his life.
Oh man.
So Harambe, does he turn out to be a Mexican, a white guy, or a black guy?
I don't know.
Because it's hard to say.
I don't know.
He could have been a white male that got shot. I mean, I just can't see that far into his evolutional life. Like, I don't know what Harambe would look like a billion years from now, but he very much well could have been a white guy.
Oh man,
that silverback. It had to be. His whole back was starting to turn white.
There you go. Good grief. Oh, the haters are gonna love that, bro. They're gonna love that,
dude. It's just the stuff that I read online yesterday. It baffles me.
It's silly.
Like, it's people were going and leaving notes and flowers at a statue of a gorilla in front of the zoo. And the picture I saw was this woman like leaning over and touching this piece of paper that she left. And it looked like she was praying over it or giving a little word or something. And I was just sitting here going, are you crazy? I'll tell you what. If somehow, in some way, a video of a fetus getting limbed up by a pair of scissors could make it onto the internet on everybody's timeline, you give them something to be sick about. If you want to be outraged over that.
Wait, that has happened. And
I know.
And nobody was outraged.
For a moment.
There was not national outrage about that. There wasn't.
No, you're not going to see the national outrage like on media, but
there wasn't nobody going on Twitter. Oh my goodness, white privilege. You know, there wasn't no there wasn't no white country folk saying this isn't white privilege. Oh my goodness, look at this. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to talk like you, and it's not working. But
boy, you trying to talk country?
I'm trying, but you know,
boy, you can't do it. You're further south. You're Yokiro Taco.
Hey, you speaking
Dude,
of
look,
that, speaking
what
of
I'm talking
that,
about.
Hold on, time out. Speaking of that, what I want to know, this is going to be, it might be too soon for this, you know. I want to know what them gorilla tacos tasted like. You know they didn't just throw that gorilla away. Just saying.
I assure you, at the sound of what I've heard coming from the media, that dude is in a gold-plated casket, just sitting there with his arms crossed.
But here's the thing, though. Where is the outrage over the hundreds of gorillas that are poached? I mean, they might not be hundreds. Maybe it was like, I don't remember the number exactly, but I know a lot of gorillas are poached every year for their meat. Okay, where's the outrage for those gorillas? Are we not mad about those? Are we not mad about those gorillas because they're not in a zoo? Is that why?
No. I'm all about this. I say we shut down zoos, send those animals back where they are. If they die, they die. That's just life.
Well, see, but
you know what I'm saying? We go.
Go ahead.
They say, well, that's rude. That's rude. You preserve life. Oh, well, we abort 125,000 babies a day. That's the size of a small Utah town or a large Utah town. Matter of fact, we abort 125,000 babies a day. My town is only 1,200 people. Can you imagine how many small towns would be well populated if we didn't have abortion? That is roughly, I don't know. Let's do the math. 115, maybe 110 small towns like mine populated.
Yep.
You know, like every day. Woohoo! Can you imagine? But nobody's outraged over that.
No.
You know.
No. Nobody's outraged over that. Here's the thing, Blake. Here's what you're doing. Here's what the critics are going to say. Well, you're talking about an isolated incident, okay? You're talking about an isolated incident, and you're comparing it. Okay, this is what was said. I invited the guy. He's been trolling me now for probably the better part of 3 years on Twitter. And I actually tagged you in a tweet with him. He's Why We Leave. His whole mission is to attack preachers that he believes.
So now he attacks me.
Yeah, his whole goal, and he doesn't attack very many of them, but his whole goal is to attack preachers that he feels are not speaking the truth about like things like evolution versus creation, and this issue. I invited him onto the show to defend himself beyond 140 characters, but he refused. He says his platform is Twitter. I believe, this is my opinion, I don't think he can defend himself beyond 140 characters and what he believes. That's why he won't come on the show. But here's the thing. He said, I want your opinion on this, okay? He said the reason that we cannot compare this isolated incident to women's health, that's what he called abortion, by the way, is because this is an isolated incident, and that abortion is women's health care. That's women's health.
You know, in a way, they're two different things, but at the same time, we're really going after the heart of the outrage, not the going after somebody who's drinking and driving versus somebody who smokes himself to death. Two totally different things, yeah. But the problem is like you both put yourself there, you know, and it's just like it has the same heart behind it. And we're outraged over an innocent gorilla having his life taken. That's the connection between the innocent baby that lost its life. that there is a connection. Yeah, the mama didn't fall off a pit and decide that she wants to, have abortion. Like that. Like I get that. Like those are two. You can't even connect the two there, but we can connect the baby and the gorilla, two innocent people losing their life as the result of the carelessness of other people. Yeah, we can make a story out of that.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, we can make a story out of it. We can make a story out of a lot of things. And here's the thing, though. Here's where we have to understand something, okay? This is not an isolated incident. This is... Hang on one sec. This is not an isolated incident because we've had issues like this that have caused a nation to go into an uproar before. And I want to talk about those here in just a second. Stick with us. I'm going to play a little bit of a song, and we'll be right back after this.
Praise the power that preserves us, a nation. In God is our trust, and in Him our salvation. So let all free men stand, defend their homes from the world's desolation. Oh, see, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, Player FM, YouTube, and other social media by searching keyword Lanterns Buzz or Lanterns Radio Network.
What is up, America? You are listening to The Intersection, the place where faith, current events, and politics all come together. You're listening to it here on the Lanterns Radio Network. But if you're not listening to us live, sorry, you're just probably not cool. But here's the thing. You're probably listening to the podcast, so you're even cooler. No, I'm just kidding. You're all equally cool. But we thank you for listening to the podcast of the show as well, via Lanterns or via the Truth and Liberty Radio Network. Wherever you're listening to the show, man, we appreciate you. We would not be successful without you. We are one of the top 10 most listened to shows in religion and spirituality across America. And that's not because of anything that we did. It's because you choose to listen to us. We want to win the award, though. We want to be at the top. And in order for us to do that, and in order for us to clinch this award back from a dominated field by atheists, we need you to vote for our show for the best podcast of the year in the People's Choice Awards in religion and spirituality. All you have to do, the only thing you have to do, it takes less than a minute, go to podcastawards.com, scroll down to the religion and spirituality category, click the intersection, but while you're there, because it's going to be on the same page, right above us to the right-hand side, you're going to see the news and politics category. Click on that one. Click on that category right there, and I want you to click on Behind Enemy Lines. Then scroll to the bottom of the page, enter your email address and your name, and click submit. That's it. It takes less than a minute to do those things. Guys, we appreciate you so much, and I hope that you will vote for us and help us win this award. I also want to talk to you guys really quick about checking out an amazing organization. It's called the Warrior Angels Foundation, WAF. I want you to check them out on Facebook and Twitter, WAFTBI. On Facebook, it's Warrior Angels Foundation. Go check them out. I want you to do me a favor and just go and give maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks. Help a veteran get the care that they need. This organization isn't like those other phony veteran organizations. They give their money directly to these veterans that are getting the treatment that they provide that the VA won't. It gives them their lives back. For those that are struggling with PTS and TBI, we're giving them their lives back. I'm blessed to be associated with the Warrior Angels Foundation, and I'm blessed to call those guys my friend. So I want you guys to go and check them out and check out their website. It's waftbi.org. Again, that website's waftbi.org. We're going to have them on the show here later on next week to talk more about their organization and what it is that they are doing. But go check them out. Go give some money and help a veteran get the care that they need and that they deserve. Guys, we've been talking about Harambe the gorilla. Some people are saying this is an isolated incident and that we can no way equate the outrage over the death of Harambe to the outrage of 125,000 babies that are aborted in the United States of America. So here's the thing. Is this outrage?
Excuse me, Andrew?
Yes.
Harambe? I thought it was Magilla. It's not Magilla Gorilla?
No, it's not Magilla the gorilla.
So what's the big deal? It's not a person.
It's not. It's not. It's not a person. That's what we've been talking about. By the way, for those of you that just didn't know who that was, that's Jeff Dunnett. Jeff Dunnett's the guy with the lid blog, the Yid with the lid, as they call him. He's my favorite Jew. No, I'm just kidding. I have a lot of favorite Jews. He's one of them, though. He's definitely one of them. Jeff and I go back. Jeff is one of the original voices. I wouldn't call him one of the original voices in conservatism. He was helping one of the best conservatives that our nation has ever known, and one of the guys that pioneered media for us, Andrew Breitbart. And man, Jeff, thanks for coming on the show, brother. Appreciate you being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I love to talk about monkeys.
So
that's hilarious.
It is. Here's the thing, though. Let's just talk about this outrage.
Hey,
because,
dude,
yo,
are you gonna introduce me?
No, I already did.
You introduced the world, but we're about to be on radio together, and we ain't even said hi.
Oh, hey,
okay,
hey,
hi.
Jeff, this is Blake Reynolds. Blake Reynolds, Jeff Dunnett. It's nice to meet y'all.
What's
Hi,
up,
Blake.
Jeff Dunnett? What's
How you
going
doing,
on,
man?
brother? Look, I love talking about monkeys too.
But here, we're going to shift the gear from monkeys, okay? Because here's where I say this outrage. Guys, this outrage is not an isolated incident. And here's why I'm going to say that. Okay, do you guys remember when the Planned Parenthood videos were released and they were starting to trickle through the internet and they were picking up some steam by Center for Medical Progress when we found out that Planned Parenthood was trafficking baby body parts?
Yep.
Okay, when that happened, it suddenly just got squashed, not because they were pulling it off of the internet, but it got squashed, and here's why. It got squashed because some dentist decided to kill the wrong lion. Do y'all remember Cecil?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did a video on that, and it got almost 100,000 views.
So here's the thing. Cecil was not in an American zoo. He was in Africa, but we were so mad that Cecil died. How many people did Cecil kill? Okay. How many? I mean, I didn't see Cecil standing in front of any 4-year-old kids saying, I'm going to protect you. I didn't see Cecil dragging them around. No, Cecil would have ripped your face off.
I don't think Cecil killed anybody, though.
Who knows?
I think that he was just a tad bit lower on the totem pole when a hunter came along and decided to take his life, which I think that's allowed. Like, he was completely allowed to be shot.
Yeah.
And here, I made a video talking about exactly what you're talking about now, and it was crazy. I made it driving down the road, and when I made this video driving down the road, and it started picking up steam, like almost 100,000 views or something like that on this video. But I remember the number of people that got like, so I'm talking about a lion and I'm talking about abortion, and a number of people was talking to me about, you shouldn't make this video while driving. You're going to kill somebody. I'm like, oh my gosh. America is so good at not looking directly at the issue. We have to we just want to look at it in our peripheral vision, but look over here. Look over here. So the Cecil the Lion was easy for people to do. It was easy for the liberal agenda, way easy for them, but even for the conservative Christians, it was easy for them because honestly, I think most of them were tired of looking at the babies being ripped apart. So it was easy for them. They're not against it, but they want to see it in their peripheral vision, not look right at it. So it was easy for them to switch to a lion. And I think that's the same way you go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is that I remember that, and I have to tell you something. I was very upset about the Cecil thing. I must have lost maybe 20, 30 seconds of sleep.
That's a lot of sleep.
That's a lot.
And compared to it's not just selling the baby parts, which the liberals call a little clump of flesh. But it was, first they have to rip the baby out of the mother in pieces, if you listen to those disgusting videos. And for anybody to be more concerned about a dead lion or a dead ape, I'm sorry. Peter's going to be outside my house in about 15 minutes. It's disgusting, I have to tell you. It's not the same. I mean, since Wade versus Roe versus Wade, what was it, like 55 million babies have been killed?
Yep.
125,000 a day.
Yeah.
Now, I have to also be honest with you that I don't have a problem with late-term abortions, not when they're fetuses, but like if it's a girl and they get to be like 15 and really obnoxious, I'm fine with that.
I hope you're not listening right now, Alexa. I hope you're not listening.
She's heard me say that before.
I know. So for those of y'all who don't know who Alexa is actually Jeff's daughter. And that's how Jeff and I met initially. Alexa is she's a sweet girl. She's a sweet young lady, and she works hard for me when I am at conferences and stuff like that. So she wrangles guests and things like that for us. So we appreciate her, and I would not let that happen to you, Alexa. I promise.
I wouldn't let it happen to her either. I'm still standing outside of bathrooms preventing guys to follow her in, but that's another issue.
There you go. Go ahead, Blake.
If it wasn't a real baby, what would be the need to abort it? If it's just a piece of tissue in the body, what's the need to abort it and yank it out? Like, why not just let it take its process then? Like, why do you have to kill it? If it's not a real life, then why do you have to take scissors to its neck? Like, why do you got to do that? If it's not a real life, just let whatever happen. And when the baby, of course it's a real life. There's no way around it. That's why you have to terminate it.
But here's the thing.
Because it's a real life.
Here's what I want to know. And maybe both of you can give me some perspective, okay? Because like I said, I've had a guy that and again, I can block whoever I want to on Twitter, and I haven't blocked this guy. And he's been trolling me now, like I said, for 3 years. He says abortion is women's health care. That is it. Now, I will say this, my wife strongly disagrees. My wife says, I am a midwife. I am the guardian of women's health. And that means a healthy baby and a mom. That's what my wife says. So abortion would not be health care by that definition. What do you guys think? Do you think that abortion weighs in? I'm going to say, just right here, before I let you guys chime in, I'm going to say no. Abortion is not women's health care, especially the abortion clinics that I have seen that have been shut down here in the state of Texas because they refused to meet the standard of an ambulatory surgical facility. It's not that high of a standard, but it's a higher standard than what they had. It's the standard that your life flight helicopter has to meet. That's it. It has to be that triage ready. That's it. And some of these Planned Parenthood facilities that were performing abortions refuse to meet those standards. You want to talk about the Little House of Horrors where Kermit Gosnell was doing his abortions, where he had a desk with a jar full of baby feet on it as a paperweight. Do you want to talk about that being women's health? Let's talk. What do you guys think? What say you about abortion and women's health?
Well, I firmly believe in a female's right to choose. But when I say that, I mean the baby. Half the babies aborted are women. And they should have the right to choose before the mothers have a right to choose. And I kind of think that they would choose not to be cut out by scissors. And I'm sorry for being gross if people feel it's that way. But, I have 2 kids. I mean, I'm the low man on the totem pole. I've heard 2 of you guys have 4. But when my children, when I saw sonograms of my children, they acted and did things the way they did after they came out. They in utero, I say this jokingly, but Alexa was overactive at 6:30 at night in utero. And when she came out at 6:30 at night, the same exact time is when she'd go crazy. So you can't tell me that wasn't a baby inside.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's also, by the way, there's a late term abortionist named Dr. Carhart. I don't know if you read about this.
Yeah, I did.
I've written about him, and he's the same as Gosnell, only worse because he keeps sending the mom to the emergency room because he's killing them. Because he doesn't have the facilities, and this guy brags about doing between 80 and 100,000 abortions himself. And he says, I'm doing God's work.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I don't know if this is theologically correct, but, I happen to believe that God loves the little babies because we love the little babies, and somebody had to instill that in them, in us.
Yeah. I would say that's theologically correct, that God loves all life that he created.
Yeah. But how someone could brag about killing 100,000 babies, and 20,000 of them were late-term abortions, which means that they could have been delivered. Think about that. A late-term abortion, which the pro-abortion people fight for. In most of those cases, it's so late that the baby could have, been born by cesarean and given away to be adopted, but instead they're killing them.
Wow.
I mean, that's horrible.
Yet we are outraged as a nation right now over shooting a gorilla. That's it. That makes perfect sense. Makes total sense that's what we are mad about.
It's not only a gorilla, but a gorilla that never had a cartoon series.
That's sad. No cartoon series for Harambe. It might have one now.
He's way early on in his process of evolution.
Way. So let's
I can
go ahead.
Weigh in on whether it's healthcare. I'll tell you what it is. Here's what the Bible says. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. Now, this was Jeremiah 1:5. This is not a healthcare issue as much as it is a blotting out and cutting off of God's plan for somebody's life. You're terminating not only a life, you're terminating God's plan. And it's I look at this. This is not to me. It's a murder issue, because the patient is not the mom. The patient's the baby in the womb. So and if you and really it's you have to change your perspective. When you read scripture, when you Bible, if you just got a common sense brain, you know the person being done wrong in this situation is the baby. But I think people I think, honestly, people look into this situation and they know that we're right. They know that we're right. I think they have to force themselves to think of this baby as not a life or not a living thing. They have to force themselves. But I think even after that, you can't damn it. Or we are just filled with that much common sense we can't see it.
Yeah, here's the thing. I heard somebody say this a couple of months ago now, but somebody went on and said, they were thinking about the abortion argument and how people that are pro-choice or pro-abortion, they say, well, it's not a human baby yet. It's just a fetus. Well, what's it going to turn into? A tree? Does it have the possibility to turn into a tree? No. It's going to be a human life. Is it going to turn into a puppy or a goat or a bear or a Harambe? No, it's going to turn into a human baby. I've experienced it 4 times. Human babies every time. Never did what they considered to be a fetus, not a human baby. Never did that turn into something other than a human life. So it's a human life.
And it's not just babies.
We criticize
because I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I want to hear your thought on this one.
Well, and I've written about this also. There are some senior citizens hospitals and homes that purposely kill the seniors. That they bring them on because they can get federal money. Yep. And then they purposely give them poor care. So it's not just the babies. I think it's something where somehow our society got a lack of appreciation for life.
Yeah. Well, there's no sanctity
ages.
For life.
Even the veterans that they're letting die because they can't get the right health care. And we've heard about all these issues over the last year. I mean, really what it comes down to is that our society has lost an appreciation for life.
Yep.
Any life.
Absolutely. A couple of things, with the veterans thing. I mean, they're not dying because they're not getting the health care they need. According to the Veteran Association secretary, the VA secretary, the Veterans Administration secretary, he says that we're just waiting in line because they're like the lines at Disneyland. Idiot.
You're right.
Idiot.
And if that's true, that's really sad because the lines at Disneyland are really, really, really long for nothing.
I mean, if it's true, I want to know where I can buy my Magic Fast Pass to get to the front of the line.
Right.
So, here's the thing, though. You're right, guys. We don't have an appreciation for life as a nation anymore. And in fact, that's evident in a political issue of the day that we're talking about as we're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth over our presumptive nominee and the differences between him and Hillary Clinton and the difference and what's going to happen with the ACA or the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare as we call it. The Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, within its 2,000 pages, actually has listed in it a consultation at a portion of life, a consultation with a death panel for physician-assisted euthanasia. Which basically means that you can consult if you no longer feel that as a senior citizen you have a solid quality of life. You can consult with a panel of doctors and they can tell you whether or not you can continue living a viable life. And if we all deem that, you're probably not going to get any better and that the end of your life is very near, we can put you down like a puppy.
That's crazy.
If you remember during the discussion, this woman asked President Obama, she said, my mother's 90 and just had a pacemaker. What would happen to her? And he goes, well, she lived a good life. It's like, yes, 90 is a nice long life, unless you're 89. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not government,
90's not 100.
People say that government should stay out of, the women who believe in abortion say government should stay out of my body. But when it comes to healthcare, it's okay for government to be in our body.
Yep. Exactly.
It's crazy because the bleeding heart liberal is not only that, like the way they are in this subject, and we all agree. I think that it's monstrous. Then you go over to the animal side, and it's crazy how all of a sudden they're all about sanctity of animal life. Yep. And like I'm a hunter. Like every year I kill deer. Every year I kill turkeys. I'll shoot a coyote just for being in my front yard. Like I'm a hunter. This is what I do. Like, and people like, I got 85 death threats one time in 5 minutes because I posted a picture of a dead deer and we were selling hunts and I posted the picture and within 5 minutes, bro, I got 85 death threats. I got knife emojis. I hope you die. I hope you rot in hell. Like it was crazy. And I'm sitting here thinking the hunting community has done more for animal life, just as far as preservation, just all kinds of, I mean, millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars hunters pay into like the DNR and different things. Like we protect our wildlife. You know, if you kill a turkey out of season, you could go to jail. Like I mean, this is trouble. Like I can't even walk into the woods with more than 3 shells in my gun.
Yep. No, you have to. When we do more. We as hunters do more for the preservation and the continuation of a species, whatever it is that we are hunting or fishing for, than the average loudmouth bleeding heart liberal does. We have to.
Well,
go ahead.
Because it's more than just hunting an animal, because hunters have an appreciation and just to get to the theological part of it, at least the Jewish theology, you're not supposed to torture an animal. You're not supposed to, do mean things from that. Heck, the kosher thing about milk and meat. Do you know why that's there? Because it says in the Torah, thou shalt not boil a kid in its mother's milk, which means, don't kill an animal with its mother's milk, but hunters make sure that they're not torturing. There's no ban against hunting. The ban is against being mean to an animal, and hunting is not being mean to the animal.
Right.
Yeah. Well, right. Most people think that hunting is mean, and it's and I'm sitting here going, like hunters, like deer season. Just take deer season for example. There's deer all over my property. I'm talking last night when I was pulling into my house at 2:00 this morning. I was pulling into my house and there was deer on both sides of the road jumping back and forth in the corn. And I was just like, man, this is awesome. I can't wait till deer season. What am I really saying? Man, I would really love to shoot one of these deer now, but I can't. You want to know why? Because they're pregnant. Most does are pregnant this time of year. We can't, or they're just having their babies. We can't. The season even goes around that. Those deer have already had their babies, and they have already weaned their babies by the time we ever get in the woods and hunt those babies. Yeah. Like they can take care of themselves beyond that point. And it's just like, who does that? Well, people that care about life of animals.
Yeah.
That's why, you want to know something else? I can only kill 3 a year. I can only kill 1 male deer and 2 does. That's my limit. You want to know why? Because they care about animal life. They want to preserve the animal life. And I assure you, it's the hunting community that probably even pays keep and preserve even the monkeys.
So clearly.
I will tell you, though, that there's one hunting thing I can't stand. If I find that guy that killed Bambi's mother, okay, they're in trouble.
Yeah, there you go.
Did Bambi's mom die in the movie?
Yes, that's how it starts. And this is funny and sick because I am. But when Alexa was young, and you, Andrew, you can ask her. She had a friend whose father hunted deer, and Alexa and her friend were like maybe 6, 7 years old, and they're watching Bambi. And I looked at the the friend, and I said, Lauren, do you know who killed Bambi's mother? Your daddy.
That's messed
and
up.
she looked, well, she looked like horrified for a second, then looked at me and goes, Jeff, you're so silly.
That's funny. That's funny. Hey, guys, so obviously, let's all agree that there is no sanctity of life anymore, and it's inconsistent at best when it comes to our nation's outrage, right? So again, misplaced outrage, misplaced theologies and things like that have led us to Harambe actually being a crazy issue of the day, and the reason that we actually just took all of this time to talk about it. I want to talk about three things as we go into the second hour, as we come right back after this quick, very quick, I mean quick, like 10 seconds quick commercial break.
Stay connected to Lanterns Radio Network by following us on Twitter and Facebook at Lanterns Buzz.
Hey, everybody. Okay, there we go. I told you it was quick. Told you, very quick. I just wanted to get that in there. Stay connected with us. Lanterns Buzz. Find us all over social media and stay connected with the network here. If you're listening to the podcast, we appreciate you listening. And if you are listening at our Philadelphia, New Jersey affiliate, 1360 AM WNJC, we welcome you to the Intersection family as well. I want to shift gears. There's three things I want to talk about in this second hour. The first one is I am going to I'm going to talk about this one on behalf of Blake, and we have somebody coming on the show next week on Friday. We have somebody coming on the show that's one of the most successful special forces operatives that has ever graced the military, so to speak. My good friend Jason Beardsley will be on the show on Friday. And he's actually going to discuss some veterans for Trump issues and things like that. But the veterans, the media has pressed Donald Trump. They have pressed and pressed and pressed about the money that was supposedly raised for veterans. And yesterday, Donald Trump held a press conference. And boy, let me tell you, I would not have known that he was holding a press conference. Oh, yes, I would have, because Blake blew my phone up about some press conference for Donald Trump. But here's the thing. Donald Trump held a press conference, and he talks about this money. He produces a document that shows how much money he raised. He said they were properly vetting these organizations. Not all of them were properly vetted. We have come to find out, and there's an interview done on. You can check it out. It was on Anderson 360 on CNN. Our friend Dana Lash joined the show because they were talking about how Donald Trump lashed out at the media. Here's what I think, and I'm going to give Donald Trump credit, and this is going to make you guys happy. I'm going to give him some credit because he is right. But here's the thing. I'm conflicted because the media, Jeff, you know this as well as I do. We've been in the media a long time. We have a responsibility to ask the tough questions. That's our job as the media, to get the answers to the tough questions about the tough issues. And when your media relationship is going to be different when you are a celebrity businessman like Donald Trump was and now running for the highest office in the land. Your relationship with the media is going to change, okay? It is the responsibility of the media to get those tough answers. Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
It is. That's the reason it's in the Constitution that we have a free press. And it's the press.
Well, it's even more than that.
Go ahead.
He made it a campaign issue because he did that fundraiser instead of a debate.
Yep.
And he tried to get the debate to lose some of its audience by giving CNN coverage of his fundraiser. And I'm not saying that part was wrong or not, but certainly it's a viable question to ask, okay, did you spend the money? I mean, you raised it in public. Did you spend it, and where did you spend it?
Yeah.
And if you look at the record, and I'm not trying to destroy Trump, so the crazies don't have to surround my house, but if you look at the record, he did a lot of those donations after the Washington Post decided to write what did he do for the I think it's a third So, yes, it is an issue.
Yeah. No, it's an issue. Blake, what do you think, bro?
I think that yeah, there should be some digging done by the media. Let's find out some stuff. Let's do this. Let's do what we got to do. But there was like a general assumption that was made that, I mean, even my dad, you know, who was reluctant to support Trump, but less he's supporting Trump now. But even him, he was like, you can't say you raise money and not give people the money. And I don't know nothing about that. And I said, Dad, I don't know what it's like to write $1 million check and hand it to somebody. I said, I don't know if you just do it or if it takes like a month or if it takes 3 months. I don't know the process. I don't know, like, how do you just give that much money to organizations without really doing research and without vetting them and different things. And I don't even know that process, but I assumed in my brain, and it's not just because I'm a supporter of Trump, but I was sitting here going, well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. It's only been a few months. Maybe this is a process. Like, that's what I was thinking. But everybody else, I was watching the meetings. It's sad that he would use the veterans like that. And I'm sitting here thinking, no, he's done a good thing.
No, it is.
What has Hillary Clinton done?
But here's the thing. It is sad that he would use the veterans like that. There were more appropriate times to hold a fundraiser for veterans if he truly cared than at the same time as a presidential debate.
Man, you know what he was doing though.
Yeah, he was using veterans as a political pawn. That's what he was doing.
That's all they do. Everything they
exactly
touch is a political pawn.
And as a combat veteran, it pisses me off that he used veterans as a political pawn.
Well,
so that's why I was so outraged. But here's the thing:
the veteran organization that got $350,000 isn't pissed.
Well, let's just hope that veteran organization that got that part of the money is one of the veteran organizations that was actually properly using the money, and not one of the ones that was reported on that's not. But here's the thing, because
we'll find a reason to criticize him, I'm sure.
But here's the thing, and here's where I'm going to say I'm going to give Donald Trump credit, and I'm going to echo the sentiments of my dear friend Dana Lash and what she said on the reporting of this on Anderson 360. There is a reason, there is a right, we have a responsibility to ask the tough questions, and we have a responsibility as those in the media to dig, and Donald Trump made it an issue. You are right. However, this was a clear example of the media bias that has rued the day. Where was this kind of scrutinizing and digging with the Affordable Care Act? Where was this kind of scrutinized digging by the media with Benghazi? Where is the scrutiny?
Hillary's emails.
You know, exactly. I mean,
yes, thank you.
So here's the thing is, and Dana said it better than I could have ever thought of saying it. She said it this way, and it's quite simple. The media has to earn the trust of the people again if we want support in the digging of things like this. So this is why Trumpkins and Trump supporters like Blake and all of them are like, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, don't listen to the media. The media's stupid. The media lies and all of this stuff. Okay. So here's the thing is, yes, you're right. The media is lying. The media has lied for so long about certain things. It doesn't mean they lie about everything. And we can clearly see the media inconsistencies when it comes to how people are running the same scrutiny. If the media is doing its job within its proper context and role, both constitutionally and ethically as a media source and outlet, it will do its part in equally scrutinizing everyone, no matter what letter is at the back of their name. So you know what? I'm going to give Donald Trump credit for the way that he handled the media, because you know what? They have hammered and scrutinized him, myself included, harder than they have others. But I haven't. I'm an equal opportunity offender. The way that I say it when it comes to politics is I hate everybody equally. I really don't hate them, but I am going to scrutinize equally. So
it's more like you're like me. You don't look at your responsibility to a party or anything like that. You look at your responsibility to your readers and listeners, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
My responsibility is, and you know, when I have to go write something, I tell people it's time to feed my readers, because That's where your responsibility is to your readers, and tell them and find the truth. And, there have been times I've gotten killed because I blasted Trump on things.
Yeah.
Because I think he's been wrong. And there have been times where I've been killed because, I did one yesterday about Brett Stevens. Remember what he said over the weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Brett Stevens over the weekend said that he wants Trump to lose by so much that the GOP voters are taught a lesson not to nominate somebody like Trump. And I'm thinking, what is he, my mother? He's going to punish me?
Yeah.
I mean, who the heck is he? And so I've supported him and I've trashed him. And each time I do it because I think that that's the right thing.
Yeah. And here's
in the case of what you were saying, he deserved to be trashed for the veterans thing. And he also deserved to be trashed because he handled the press conference wrong. Because when he started to get questions about it, what he should have said is, look, in the end, I've raised $5.6 million for the veterans. How many of you have raised money for the veterans? Something like that amount.
Yeah.
And leave it.
Yeah.
But he didn't have to call them sleaze bags, even though some of them are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. But again, that shows you exactly what I was talking about, though, is he needs to understand. And that actually shows you that, I mean, in from my perspective, is he going to be able to handle the pressure from the media when it comes? Because I've said this before, even currently to this point, we know that he has clinched the nomination, but we still have a convention to get through, right? So the race for the White House, because the Democrats have not, they don't have their nominee. It's speculated, and it's always speculative right now. We assume that it's going to be Hillary Clinton. But when the media, I've said this before, and I believe it wholeheartedly, the media still has not come full bore at Donald Trump the way that it will if Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee. Will he be able to handle that pressure? I think the press conference was indicative that he will crack at some point because he understands. I mean, and here's the thing about Donald Trump. He's a phenomenal individual from a mental perspective. He understands the media probably better than most. He has a relationship with the media. He's had, one of the things that they said is he's had media relations for decades with specific reporters for decades.
Not only the reporters, but the heads of the networks.
The heads of the networks. But that relationship changes from when you're an entertainer and a businessman providing perspective that way, which is what he was on The Apprentice and those types of things like that. It changes when you are now running for the highest office of the land. It changes. That relationship is going to change. And he does not like that change. But that it goes with the office. Now, here's the thing. Are some in the media sleazeballs? Yes, absolutely. 100%. But here's the thing. And this is going to shift us gears just a little bit. Because here's the reality is even those sleazeballs, man, I can't stand, there are very few times where I've actually shared something from HuffPo. I'm just not a fan of Miss Ariana. Okay. I'm not. So here's the thing. Are there media outlets that I could live without? Yeah. I don't read them. I don't listen to them. I don't listen to those outlets. But do they have a right to their opinion and a right to be a media outlet and a right to ask the questions that they believe are pertinent and relevant to their readers and listeners? 100% the answer is yes. They have a right to be there.
Is that what journalism is, though?
That is what journalism is. And so here's the thing. No one should ever be silenced from a media perspective. One of the things that I've said for 3 years now is if you don't like what I have to say on the air, get your own radio show and combat me. Go say something.
Well, that's what I did. Joking.
I believe it, Jeff. I believe it. But here's the thing.
No, I don't do my radio show to combat you.
I know, man. I know. So here's the thing, though. This shifts us gears just a little bit. Good friend of mine has been suspended from Sirius XM radio. Anybody know who that is?
Glenn Beck.
Glenn Beck was just suspended from Sirius XM because here's the thing, and here's what we were going to talk with Sierra about, but she's not on because she wrote a little piece on this. So Glenn Beck was suspended from SiriusXM because he did an interview with author and thriller writer Brad Thor. And Brad Thor during the interview did a speculative on what would happen. This is why Glenn Beck's show was suspended from SiriusXM, because Brad Thor in the interview did a speculative piece or a speculative part of the show on what would happen if Donald Trump or a President Trump was assassinated. They suspended Glenn Beck's show because Brad Thor said, gave a hypothetical on what would happen if a President Trump were assassinated. Here's the thing. Here's the problem that I have with this. Okay. First of all, First Amendment covers that. Okay. First of all, the First Amendment of the Constitution says I can say whatever it is I want to. Doesn't mean you have to accept it. Doesn't mean you have to like it. It means that I can say whatever I want to. Doesn't mean I'm right. But I can say it. Okay. Now that same line of reasoning though would say this. Here's the problem that I have with it. Number one, we should never talk about assassinating somebody that's running for or somebody that is potentially the next president of the United States. That's just catastrophe. I don't care if it's a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent that was in office or
an ape.
in office or an ape. I
agree.
That seriously sends a message to the entirety of the world that we are in a wrong place as a nation and that we are in a weakened state. Okay. So, but here's the thing. Here is the thing. Just because I shouldn't say something doesn't mean that I can't say something. The biggest problem that I have with this, though, is for 8 years now, 8 years, the same people that are ticked off about somebody giving a hypothetical on what would happen if a President Trump was assassinated are the same people that have been crying out for 8 years for somebody to pull the trigger on Obama. That's the problem that I have with it. Where is the consistency there? Man, do I wish
why it happened?
Do I wish we didn't have an Obama presidency? You bet. I would never go on a radio show or anything like that and say, man, somebody just needs to pull the trigger. I wouldn't do it. That's not saying that somebody else can't. But I wouldn't do that. But here's
so let me ask
I
this
wouldn't
question.
even think it.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't think it.
Yeah.
I neither. Can I ask this question?
Yeah.
And this is in the same subject, but when somebody says, I don't want to bake you a cake, don't they have that right just as much as Sirius Radio has the right to say, you know what? You can say whatever you want, just not on my program anymore. Yeah. Not on Sirius Radio anymore.
Yeah, no.
So they have that right.
They do. But
they have that right to say, hey, you know what, Glenn Beck, you got a big enough platform. Go do that stuff over there. If you want to have people like him on there, and y'all want to talk about this stuff. We don't want to. We don't want our name.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Glenn has said more controversial things than that on SiriusXM. Brad Thor is not a nobody when it comes to SiriusXM. Brad has been on SiriusXM, not just on the Glenn Beck Show, on various shows in media. So it just shows you the backwards agenda of media. It shows you again.
Well,
this goes back to exactly what I was talking about with Donald Trump's press conference. It shows media inconsistencies across the board.
Yeah, but let me explain.
They would never do to Hillary what they did to Trump.
Go ahead, Jeff.
As you know, the way radio works is if nobody complained, no one would care.
Right.
And Trump has this army of crazies. Of
whiners.
Of crazies. They're nut jobs. I'm not saying all his supporters are nut jobs, but I'm saying he has some nut jobs following him. And anybody says anything slightly off from Trump, from what he wants, or something slightly, gee, he didn't go to the bathroom yesterday, and all of a sudden, the emails and the Twitters and the tweets come out. And I believe that he has the army to do this, and SiriusXM probably got a zillion posts about this, a zillion letters. I mean, I have to tell you, and I was kind of the lead in covering the story of this GOP communications director who Trump's tried to hire, and she said no. And this woman, Sherry Jacobus, and the Trump fans and actually Corey Lewandowski and Donald Trump have been brutal. And I'm sure that Sirius got the same sort of stuff that, or even worse than someone like Sherry got.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you. I mean, you wouldn't believe, it's like almost an army of fire ants. You know, you step on one and then all of a sudden there are 12 million near you. There are times that I used to worry that, you know how like in the Frankenstein movies, they'd be all outside the castle with pitchforks and torches?
Yeah.
I used to have dreams they were outside of my house like that. and in the end, because because I still think he is 10 times better than Hillary Clinton, I'm supporting him. Because God forbid Hillary gets in the Oval Office. But legitimate criticism gets trashed. And really with radio, it's really based on the complaints. That's why Opie and Anthony is now just Opie.
Right.
Because, Anthony had an incident with a woman trying to take her picture. Okay, it's all hate mail. It's what it does. So I don't think it was Sirius's fault. I think that they were just reacting to, the hate mail.
Yeah, for sure. So here's the thing. I mean, here's the bottom line is, don't tell me you are an unbiased media source and that you are going to champion the voices that are out there and then go and do something stupid like that. Don't cave. Hold to your guns. Stick to your principles. I mean, look, if I caved to my hate mail every time, I wouldn't have a radio show. That's the reality of it. We live in a day.
Heck, if I caved, most of my hate mail now comes from my wife. So
mine too.
Yeah, she writes me hate mail also.
There you go. Yeah, see, there you go. It's equal. They're equal opportunity offenders. So no, but really, like let's be realistic here. We live in a day, and here's the reason that. Look, man. Again, I've said it before. I'll say it again, and in fact, it's an endorsement that I carry proudly. Glenn is a good friend, and I can tell you this. I can tell you this probably more than most people probably could that have, if you've never worked with Glenn or spent time with him. Everything that Glenn says, everything that he says personally, that he says is sincere, and it is calculated, and it is researched. And I can tell you even this, when Glenn is wrong, he will tell you on the air publicly that he was wrong. And that's what I appreciate so much, and I love so much about Glenn. So for this to be happening, and for this, it's just, again, it goes to show that there is media bias across the board. It really does. And we have to figure out how to get past that. Because we live.
And there's nothing wrong with bias if you let your readers know that you
Exactly. There's nothing wrong. If you go to my blog or if you listen to our radio show, you know that you are listening to a conservative talk radio show that deals with faith, current events, and politics. So I can promise you one thing.
Hashtag never Trump.
If you follow me, you know that you're following somebody that is never Trump. I'm not. Or never Hillary either. I'm never going to vote for either one of them. I have yet to be swayed. To supporting.
Well, can I give you a suggestion?
Nominee. Yeah.
Vote for me. There's never been a Jewish president.
You got it.
And I'll make you secretary of finding the beer.
Finding the beard?
Beer. B-E-E-R.
Oh, well, look. We can look. I think that comes in plenty. America has a beer problem.
And Blake, you'll be secretary of bringing in the food. Your hunt for.
Really?
Really? He said,
I
really?
promise.
He said, really?
I think that's going to make him cry.
It's turkey.
He's so happy.
It's turkey imported all the way from Katie's, Kentucky. So
I can't believe you just told the world where I live, bro.
Bro, we've talked about Katie's, Kentucky like more than just today. And you know what? Here's
Dude,
the
I'm
thing.
going to put out your address.
Elkhart, Texas. Come on. Find our little map.town. I'm not hard to find. One of the only houses in Elkhart, Texas with an American flag flying out front. So there you go. And you can, before you come in to do anything, make sure that you feed and water my chickens. And, yeah, then you can come on in. So I don't care. I don't care. Go ahead. Come on. I'm gonna be like Blake. I'm gonna brandish my chrome Colt 45.
Dude, I just walk around with it in my hand. People don't have to wonder what I'm doing.
Yeah. No,
like they're like, is he here to rob us or is he here to shop? I'm here to shop. You know, I'm just waving.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm just here. I want gas.
Here's the thing. Faith is listening to the show, and Faith says the only way to force the media to tell the truth is to hit the media where it hurts. Support the truth tellers, and she puts a $sign in there.
Well, yeah.
So I mean, and that's
it
that's
doesn't
true.
have to be with, and it doesn't even have to be with the money. It's you know, you go to the truth tellers and you click on their ads.
Yep.
You you traffic their sites.
Yeah.
Etc.
But don't worry, Faith. I'll send you my PayPal link in private. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, I tell you what, you can start donating to our church too. I preach truth up there.
Oh, in skinny jeans. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
That's why Blake carries his 45 in his hand, because it doesn't fit in his jeans.
Ouch.
But no. Here's the thing, though. So obviously we have this media bias going across the board, and people aren't scrutinized. But again, we're joined by Jeff Dunitz. Jeff is the writer and columnist for various outlets, but his personal site is lidblog.com. It's lidblog.com, where they talk about a little bit of everything on there. And yours is a Political Insider Network site, right? Is that right?
Well, sort of. It's the part of the Liberty Alliance.
Liberty Alliance. There you go. Liberty Alliance. It's a Liberty Alliance website. Good source for information. One of the things that you have been talking about, or that you just wrote about, is something that the New York Post actually reported on. And I want to bring it up, and I want to have you tell us about it, because, you know, when I say Clinton email scandal, what do you think of, Blake?
Hillary Clinton.
You think of Hillary Clinton when I say Clinton email scandals, right? Yeah. Well,
yeah.
And that's what the world is thinking about right now. They're thinking about this Hillary Clinton email scandal. They're thinking about Benghazi. But this is not, Jeff, this is not the first email scandal that the Clintons have been involved in.
No, it's not. And actually, what started me off on this little search was that the Post wrote about it, but didn't provide any of the details. And I wanted to find the details. And apparently, during Bubba Clinton's tenure, there was they called it a glitch, but it sounds like it was a person who turned off an automatic email archiving system. So what it would do is automatically capture the emails so they could be ready to put into the federal records. And they lost about 1 million emails. But it's worse than that, because the emails just happened to disappear. The ones that disappeared just happened to be the same ones that Kenneth Starr was subpoenaing for the Monica Lewinsky scandal, and that Congress was looking for when they were investigating Filegate. It just happened. You know, I'm sure it was just a coincidence. And then the lost emails really were only from one server. And it just happened to be the server that handled the President Clinton's emails and certain people who were potential witnesses in the scandal. So, you know, and I'm sure it's all coincidence, because we know that the Clintons would never do anything dirty.
Right. So according to the House Oversight Committee, a report released in December of 2000 says the White House.
I had hair back then.
You had hair back then. That's surprising. The report says the White House installed an automated records management system, or what they called ARMS, to store all email correspondence in one central place and make it easier to respond to document subpoenas. Due to misconfiguration in the system, email to about 500 White House officials was never recorded. Email was first discovered missing in January of 1998, but the extent of the problem was not realized until later that year. Top White House officials were notified in June. Despite the fact that email was being subpoenaed in a number of civil and criminal cases, including the Lewinsky affair and the Filegate scandal, the White House did not notify investigators that some of it was missing. In mid-February of 2000, the ex-chief of the White House computer operations, Cheryl Hall, who moved to the Treasury Department, came forward with allegations that the Clinton administration officials were involved in an email cover-up. Betty Lumbuth, working for a private employer under a contract to the White House, charged that White House technicians had been threatened with loss of job, arrest, and jail if they revealed the problem.
And it's not even if they reveal the contents; it's if they said that there was a problem. And see, this Betty worked for CX, which was a contractor. It was a subcontractor for Northrop Grumman, which is actually near me on Long Island, that ran the computer system. And it was first found by this guy, Robert Haas, and because he was checking the system and he noticed that it wasn't getting into the emails. And what this Betty testified under oath to a court that the White House, one of the White House counsels named Mark Lindsay, said that if she or any of her team knew about the problem, told anybody else, they would not only lose their jobs, but they'd be put in jail. And she couldn't even tell her supervisor at her own firm, who didn't work in the White House. Okay, so she couldn't tell her secular supervisor, and she lost her job on that assignment because she wouldn't tell her supervisor. But the funny thing is that all the people that knew about it, who worked for this subcontractor, they used to go to the Starbucks near the White House to discuss it, so no one would hear it, and that's how it got its the project. The scandal got its name, Project X, because at that time, you remember the X Files were big, so they called it Project X. But here's the interesting part.
Jeff, you there, bro? I think we lost you for a sec. Hey, Blake, are you there? Hello. Hello. Guys, we'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Let me get these guys back and connected here.
Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride.
All right, guys, we got everybody back. Go ahead, Jeff. Finish your thought there.
If you look at the names of the people who were affected by that particular scandal. It's people like Sid Blumenthal and Cheryl Mills, who are part of the latest email scandal, or at least have been connected with it. John Podesta, who's now in charge of Hillary's campaign. And one of my favorite ones is Bruce Lindsay. Now, Bruce Lindsay is now the chairman of the board of the Clinton Foundation, which during Hillary's Secretary of State time, if you read Clinton Cash, Peter Schweitzer's book, that's when they were doing all this cronyism where they were doing pay for play with the State Department. So all these people involved in that original email scandal 16 years ago or 20 years ago, they're somehow involved with the latest Hillary scandals. So, what is it? Anybody who forgets history is doomed to repeat it.
Yeah. So here's my question though, Jeff. Your blog is reporting it. You're a highly trafficked blog. You're a great columnist and writer, and people do follow you. You have a good following, but you're not Fox. You're not MSNBC. Why aren't we hearing them talk about it?
I don't know. I could tell you that it was. Well, I mean, it was, my story was picked up by a lot of people on the internet. Instapundit picked it up, and actually I rewrote it, and it's running today on MRC. So I'm trying to give it more exposure. So it did get a lot of exposure on the internet.
Traction on the internet, right?
Right. So sometimes, sometimes that's how stories have to develop. I mean, the Helen Thomas video story where I got her fired, I was the first one to report that, and it took a couple of days for it to get into the mainstream media. A story I wrote a week before the Democratic convention last time took 4 days to start building, but everybody knew by the first day of the convention that the Democrats took out 4 pro-Israel planks, including Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, took out of their platform. It just takes a longer time to build when it's, 10,000, 100,000 at a time instead of a couple of million at a time.
Right. So here's the thing, though.
So anybody who wants this to get out, go to my site and just tweet it out.
There you go. Go to
Send
the
it
site. It's lidblog.com, right?
Right.
Lidblog.
I got a question, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
I was looking at your Facebook and I saw an article about the 47 people close to the Clintons disappeared. Was that something you wrote, or just somebody just tagged you in it?
No, it's something I picked up from a good friend of mine, Tammy Jackson, and she let me rewrite it. Actually, she only did the first 3, so we've done 30 out of 47, and I'm waiting for the other 17.
Because I'm into that, but I get made fun of by Andrew because he calls me a conspiracy theorist. But as soon as I saw that, I said, I wonder what he thinks about it. So I'd like to ask you what your thoughts are on it.
Well, I don't think that Hillary Clinton killed these people, nor do I think that Bill Clinton killed these people. But it is an interesting coincidence. And that, that is how I present it. It's a coincidence, and certainly it's a coincidence that maybe should be looked at further. Maybe
I don't know 47 people that's died. I don't know anybody else does.
That's correct, but when you're in public service, when you know a lot more people.
Yeah, and I get that, but it always seems like people surrounded by their, I don't know, maybe the bad publicity, maybe those people that are surrounded of I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it always seems like there's some people that know a certain side of them that it seems to be the ones that's disappearing, not anybody else.
there are two ways to look at this kind of story. One is it's an interesting coincidence, and like I said, I don't think that anybody was killed by the Clintons. With, for example, Vince Foster, I think that the pressure of being in the Oval Office caused him to commit suicide, but it wasn't that somebody in the Oval Office killed him. And I just thought it was an interesting pattern, where something like what I wrote about the first email scandal, that I present as fact. That's not interesting. That is something that people should look at if they're concerned about the present email scandal. So there's kind of a difference in the stories. And I've been all over this email scandal because I think there are actually two problems with it. Even I think she did something illegal in terms of the way she handled the email. And if you look at the document she signed, okay, that everybody has to sign when they get into government service or a state.
Is this the one that Rudy Giuliani was talking about, that document?
It might have been. It was the one that he was
on Bill O'Reilly. He was meeting with Bill O'Reilly.
It was one that Lachlan Markey, I believe, found it and posted it on the Free Beacon. But the document she had to sign said, that she's supposed to know that she's supposed to guard secrets, whether it's labeled secret or not. And the law is that you don't have to prove intent. That if you've been reckless with national secrets, then whatchamacallit, then you're doing something illegal. Okay, so she's broken the law. It's as simple as that. And I think because of that, I think that's one of the problems. I think the other problem is, even if she didn't break the law, okay, the fact that she wants to be president of the United States and get even higher level secrets when she's been so reckless with the secret she had as Secretary of State is astounding. It's astounding that anyone would vote for her, even if they thought she was innocent of breaking the law. The fact that anyone would vote for her, knowing that she's been reckless with secrets. I mean, just in your own personal life, if you tell someone a secret and they and they tell it to other people, would you tell them another secret?
No. No.
Right. Okay. Now you're telling them the most sensitive stuff in our nation. Things that, if got out, could get people killed.
Yeah. Well, there's no telling. There's no telling what's in there. There's no telling what she's hiding. Not even just that secret part that could get somebody killed, but just the stuff that she's hiding that we don't know. The money that might be funneling in from God knows where into their little personal stuff. It's just like, what is she hiding? Not just who she's putting in.
That's a totally.
What is she hiding?
Because
it's definitely an issue, right?
Right. Well, the FBI is doing two separate examinations. One is on the emails and the server. The other one, they're doing a corruption investigation. And it's all based on, again, I'll mention the book. And if you haven't read it, guys, you got to read it. Peter Schweizer's Clinton Cash, and actually a movie's coming out on it. And I don't make any money from this. This is just because I'm crazy about the book. That there were a lot of times where people just happened to give money to the Clinton Foundation and just happened to get sweetheart deals from the State Department. I mean, like one of the examples is that, how the Soviet Union now controls 20% of America's uranium supply. Okay, because somebody made a donation to the Clinton Foundation, and the State Department gave this Russian company, I keep saying Soviet Union, but it's Russian company, a contract to handle our uranium. Now, there's no quid pro quo found, at least in the book, but you had A and B, and it's kind of reasonable to believe C, unless you're a diehard Hillary fan.
I believe that is this something that took place last year, and this is like the anniversary of that?
What?
The uranium deal, the 20% on the uranium deal. When did that happen?
That happened when Hillary was Secretary of State. But this was the book Clinton Cash came out about a year ago, and
Gotcha.
And the movie Clinton Clash is just coming out. But according to Fox, and this report is about 6 months old, the FBI really has two investigations. And the second investigation is that corruption investigation.
My thing is how in the world is she at the top? How is this woman the presumptive Democratic nominee, even just with the little stuff that you've said?
She's still the assumed nominee. She's not even the presumptive
assumed
nominee.
Yeah, but I got to tell you something. After next Tuesday, she'll be the presumptive.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Like how is this? How even with the little things that you said, Trump is a few months behind on not getting veterans, or at least telling people that he's getting money to veterans, or proving that he's getting money to veterans. But look at the stuff that you've even talked about just in the last 20 minutes. How in the world is the media not all over this?
Because here's the thing, and it goes back to exactly what I was talking about earlier when I did give Donald Trump a little credit, and I talked about the media needing to really just earn back the trust of the people, because the media has been so one-sided based on the letter at the back of people's name that it does not and will not scrutinize those that they feel will play ball well with their side.
I think it's a couple of things. I think it's also that the media is liberal. Hillary is liberal. I think that the media falls in love with stories. Just like they fell in love with Barack Obama because he was the first black president. Okay. They're falling in love with Hillary because, well, she'd be the first president, but with a vagina. Okay. And they love that idea.
I completely missed that.
Well, I mean, how many times you hear people say she'd be the first female president? Well, Bernie Sanders, who I don't like either, would be the first Jewish president, and nobody's saying that. Ted Cruz, if he got the nomination, was running, would have been the first Hispanic president. Okay? But it fits their thing of what they
Trump the first. There's just a first for Trump too, isn't there?
Well, what he isn't the first.
The first non-politician.
Well, at the beginning,
no, I guess it would. I guess he wouldn't be.
No,
I guess Reagan was an entertainer before he was the president.
Yeah, but Reagan was a governor.
But Reagan was a governor.
They were generals, but really, they're in love with that idea. Okay. And, you have people like what's her name? On NBC, the one that's married to the former Fed guy, the one that's married to Alan Greenspan.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember.
Andrea Mitchell.
There you go.
Andrea Mitchell. When somebody says something bad about Hillary, she almost cries. You have Chris Cuomo, all of ABC, and George Stephanopoulos, who, Chris has the ties to the Clintons through his father, And George Stephanopoulos worked for the Clintons. I mean, it's incredible. And they have this reverence for the Clintons, you know, and a lot of it is mistakenly because they say, well, you know, look, Bill Clinton balanced the budget. Well, you know, first of all, Hillary Clinton is not Bill Clinton. Second of all, he actually came within $18 billion, but never balanced the budget. If you look at it, our national debt went up every year he was president. Okay. Third of all, the reason why the debt went down so low is because the president before. Okay. It's really because of Ronald Reagan and his tax cuts, which brought up the money that was paid into the government because people had more money and business got big and that caused more taxes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why Clinton's economy was so good because of and it's the same thing that happened actually with Johnson, where Johnson's economy was good because if you remember, JFK cut the tax rate by 40%.
Yeah, I remember that.
So Clinton really doesn't deserve credit for it, but he gets credit for it because Newt Gingrich wants to take credit for it also.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I mean, but
all that stuff helps Hillary.
It does. It all does. It all does help Hillary. It helps her case. But again, when you have the proper amount of media scrutiny, I think it gives the people a better perspective in who to choose. I think more people would be on the Trump train, so to speak, if we had more stories like yours that came out about Hillary with coupled with not just the story, but coupled with the documentation to back the story. That's the key thing. Yeah, that is. That's the key.
It's documented. Because if you don't have the background and you can't point to actual things happening, then you're a crazy conspiratist. Excuse me.
Don't die, Jeff. Don't die. Don't die on the air.
I promise. It's like one of the biggest falsehoods about Hillary Clinton is that she's a friend of Israel. You know, everybody talks about it. Well, let me tell you something. And again, I have the documentation. Except for the time that she was running for Senate in New York, from then until she became Secretary of State, those years she was pro-Israel. Except for that, because she needed the Jewish vote in New York. Except for that, she's never been pro-Israel. She's always been anti-Israel. In fact, if you look who between her, Bernie Sanders, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who they put on the platform committee, they were all anti-Israel activists. Okay? So, yeah, the media likes to tell false stories about the people they love. They love Hillary. You know?
So let me ask you a question, because this is going to bring up another side of the conversation, I guess. And we're about to have to wrap anyway, so it's a great time to ask this question. Is Donald Trump pro-Israel? Based on what you have seen, based on what you have read, I know that you pay very close attention to this issue. Some of our listeners have asked the question. I can articulate what I believe, but I don't know because it's not really one of the issues that I really dig in deep to. But it doesn't seem like he seems more what I believe you can't be. He seems neutral to the cause. But I don't think you can be neutral. I think to be neutral in the case of supporting Israel is to be against Israel. But anyway, what do you think?
I believe it depends on his advisors. I think Donald Trump is going to be the kind of president, and I'm not going to say he's going to be as good as Reagan, but I'm going to be a Reagan type of president where he manages the top and the strategy and then go do it. And it really depends on his advisors. Right now, his advisor on Israel is his son-in-law, who is very pro-Israel. Okay? But I don't know what's going to happen. At worst, he'll be as bad as Hillary. You know, and on a lot of issues, that's what I say as at worst, you know, even on I'm not sure if he's pro-life or not because he changes weekly.
So if that happens, okay, if he is, let's just say worst case scenario, as bad as Hillary, do we see a election in the next cycle with a Republican running against a sitting president?
Well, not just based on Israel, obviously. Let me just finish with, I honestly think that he'll probably be better because a lot of his support comes from the evangelical Christians who are extremely pro-Israel. And yes, I do think that if he gets not elected and he turns out to be bad, yes, there will be people running against him, a sitting president in 2020. Of course. Look, Ted Kennedy almost beat Jimmy Carter for when he was running for re-election as nomination. Reagan almost beat Jerry Ford when he was running for re-election. It happens. So, yeah, anything's possible, especially in American politics now. The bottom line is that what nobody gets is that the voters are angry. They're so pissed off. And it's not just on the Republican side, because those are the guys the angry people are voting for the 74-year-old communist on the liberal side.
Right. Well, you know, there you go. I mean, so I think you're right, though. I think the success, the making or breaking of Donald Trump's presidency will be Donald Trump. I think as we continue on, and in fact, actually, I'm looking in the chat room right now, and just a minute ago, Faith actually says the exact same thing. He will say what he is told to get elected by his advisors. She's speaking of his advisors. And then, as we all know, he will do Donald Trump. He will do what it is that he wants to do. So I believe that he is going to, I do think he'll get some good advisors, but at the end of the day, if we have a Donald Trump presidency with the Donald Trump that we know, Donald Trump's ultimately going to do what Donald Trump wants to do, and that's either going to make or break his presidency.
Yes.
Well, maybe to be good, like I think all never Trump people really think that he's the devil in disguise and never give him the benefit of the doubt. But I really don't see it being worse than Hillary, which is choice B.
Well, to be fair, I never give any politician the benefit of the doubt, ever.
Right.
And they don't, and politicians don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. So there you go.
Look at the list of Supreme Court nominees he distributed.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. They're all great. Just for that alone, in my mind, it's worth it not to have the Supreme Court go 5-4 the wrong way.
Right. No, for sure. That will be a making or breaking point. Period. Period. So
when he said that he would have Trey Gowdy be Attorney General, I was like, see, there we go. Sounds good. Like, that's looking good. That's looking good.
If Trey Gowdy wants it, I wouldn't take that if I was Trey Gowdy. I
wouldn't either. I wouldn't either. Yeah.
Why though? Why wouldn't you?
Because
he has more power.
He has a more powerful position now.
Well, but to get the right man to do the right job with integrity and blah 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 and all that for a president.
But if
I was to say,
he has better influence.
Maybe he's not in it for that kind of.
No, but the power that that's what every congressman goes into office for, though, is for the power to fight for the power to fight for the will of the people. That's what Trey Gowdy went in there for, and that's what he has done, and that's what he's continuing to do for justice and for truth. And he can do that better as a congressman and as a sitting congressman than he will as a attorney general, because the attorney general is bound by the justice system and not the legislative branch. Go ahead.
You know what the best thing about Trey Gowdy is? I'm a freak on Discovery ID, all those crime shows.
Yep.
And every once in a while they handle a crime where Trey Gowdy was the DA for. And you see and you see Trey Gowdy on Discovery ID. It's such a thrill.
That's awesome. Well, hey guys, this has been The Intersection. Man, hey, tell us where we can find you, Jeff.
Lidblog.com. You can also find me at mrctv.org. I write there 5 posts a week. And I am also the political columnist for the Jewish Star newspaper, which I think makes me the only conservative political columnist for a Jewish newspaper in New York.
There you go. There you go. And we can follow you on Twitter. It's Yid with a Lid, right?
Right. And every Monday at 2 o'clock, there's the Lid radio show on whatchamacallit, on where is it? Well,
I don't know.
The information's on my blog.
There you go. There you go. Go to
long morning.
Go to lidblog.com. Find out more about Jeff. You can follow him via social media. You can listen to his radio show. Man, Jeff, thanks for coming on the show, man. I know it was last minute, but we appreciate you coming on and chiming in.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's nice to talk to you outside of CPAC.
Yeah, for sure, brother. Well, we'll have more with you for The Intersection on Friday as we are joined with our guest, Justin Maldo, the founder and CEO of LibertyHangout.org, and what he felt happened and did not happen the way that he wanted it to at the Libertarian Convention, and what he might think about a run from Gary Johnson as the Libertarian nominee. So stay tuned for that one and more on faith, current events, and politics here on The Intersection on Lanterns Radio Network. Until Friday, God bless and Godspeed.